morning. Today we are going to see about the platform-based system on chip design. Okay, what is platform-based SoC? That is, we are just expanding the architecture for the needs. Okay, for some applications like that. Okay, so a platform is a stable microprocessor-based architecture that can be rapidly extended and customized for a range of application and delivered to the customer for quick response. Just extended the architecture for some application. Okay, for the quick development, and then we are providing this architecture to the customer. That is the platform based SoC. The main concept of this SoC, of this platform, okay, on SoC. So as the complexity of the chip area increases, chip design increases, RTL based design are inappropriate to handle the complexity, and currently pre-verified design blocks are reused. Okay, that is, if the complexity of this chip design, we are going to design a chip, and if the complexity is increased, means this RTL based design, what is that? Register transfer level design is inappropriate to handle the complexity, and so we use the pre-verified design blocks, that is subsystem, mega cell, virtual chip, and IP. So we use this already verified design blocks. Okay, so however, with more blocks from the outside the design team included, the interface protocol mismatch and the timing errors between the blocks are increasing. Okay, suppose if we add this block from the outside, there will be some difficulties. That is, the protocol mismatch will happen. That is the interface protocol. There will be some protocol, the communication rules, so there will be some mismatch in this, and also there will be some timing errors between the blocks. Okay, that is about the operations. So a high degree of the freedom in design may be an obstacle for the quick and secure design of the system. So if we are adding a lot of components, means it will affect the entire system performance. Okay, so the reducing the degree of freedom in a design may enhance the design efficiency. The possibility to get a dramatically new design would be lower. So if the degree of freedom may reduce, means we can able to enhance the design efficiency. So also the possibility to get a dramatically new design would be lower. So in all cases the freedom must be lower, otherwise there will be some issues related to the design. Okay, this can be realized by fixing most of the hardware blocks. Okay, so we have to okay, that is, we have to fix most of the we can realize by fixing most of the hardware blocks such as microprocessor, buses, and input output peripherals, and allowing only limited modifications such as adding new hardware blocks as slaves to the main processor, and minor or no modification of the system bus. Okay, so if we want to add what is platform, we know we are just extending the architecture. So if we want to extend the architecture, if we are adding only the new hardware blocks as slaves to the main processor, and if we are doing this without modifying the system, means then it would be better. If we are adding more blocks such as microprocessor, bus, and IO peripheral, means address the entire system will affect. Okay, so we have to add a lesser blocks. This pre-verified architecture with a limited degree of freedom is called as platform. Okay, So if we are adding less components, so just adding as slaves to the microprocessor means without changing the system bus means we can able to perform more, and it is called as platform. Okay, that is, the system architecture itself can be reused similar to the IP if it has been verified as a reliable and convenient solution for a certain specific application. It is an application-oriented architectural template toolkit for the system designer. This is just an example of a wireless system integration, just an example of the platform. Just have a look on it. Okay. So, for the efficient reuse of the system architecture, so if there is an architecture that we all already designed, if we want to reuse the architecture, the main hardware blocks of the system will be maintained with the modification, and the hardware or block necessary to implement the specific requirement of the new system need to be added and modified. Okay, so if we want to modify an architecture means we have to main, uh, maintain the main hardware blocks without modification, and if you want to add the hardware blocks means we will add only the hardware necessary to implement the specific requirements of the new system need to be added. So what are the main hardware required for the new architecture that we have to add? Okay, without modifying the main hardware blocks, that is, we can just able to add it as a slave or something like that. It helps the designer to implement the concrete system not only at the architectural level but also on the functional model stage. That is because the information on the key architectural components is available already. So if we didn't change the hardware components, hardware blocks of the system means we can able to implement a good system, okay, on the architectural as well as the functional level. Platform typically also contains some software blocks, design and application methodologies, and a toolset to support rapid architectural exploration. So this we know this what are the components inside this platform? The software blocks. There will be some software blocks, design, application methodologies, toolset to support the rapid architectural exploration, etc. In the electronic appliances domain, it is common to develop a new product that shares a substantial fraction of components with the previous one because it can give a differentiation in the product with less development cost. Okay. The platform can be planned before product development, or a successful product can be a platform. So the figure just shows the concept of the platform design. So there will be first one, the platform can be a planned before the product. So we have to plan a plan a platform before developing a product. Here they shows the two platform A as well as platform B. Okay, here this is the modified platform. After the architectural design, the components are added back. Okay, so this is the, there is no components added. Okay, just have a look at that. Then goes to the types of platform. So there are many platforms used in industrial system on chip development. The platform can be categorized into different layers, that is application integration platform, that is the layer 3 platform just for the application purpose. Next one, the SoC integration platform, that is the general purpose platform, that is the layer 2, and the basic or hardware platform, that is the system hardware and IP authorizing platform, that is the basic platform. These are the types of platform: layer 1, layer 2 and layer 3 platforms. In addition, they can be divided into 4 different groups. Okay, first one is processor centric platform, second one application centric platform, third for communication centric platform, fourth one FPGA centric platform. This figure shows the what are the 4 different groups of this platform. That is, first one processor centric platform, application centric platform, communication centric platform and fully programmable platform. To implement a platform, availability of many useful IPs is very important. So for designing to implementing a platform, we need a many useful internet protocol. Okay, most early efforts in the platform research is focused on IP authoring and the system integration. So just concentrate on IP authoring and system integration. The IPs including process, so the internet protocols including buses, processors, memory architecture are collected and arranged usually into a library, and the basic system integration methods are provided as the design guidelines. This can be called a basic platform if the library and guidelines are coupled with specific fabrication technology. So normally a platform has the same architecture same architecture as the general embedded system, with a CPU, a set of hardware internet protocols, a system bus and peripheral blocks for the off-chip interface. First one, processor centric platform. What is processor centric platform? So this processor-centric platform has the most general architectural among the platforms. It is composed of a well-known processor, its bus and other peripheral blocks to easily add coprocessor or accelerator and other more specific peripheral. So this also contains a processor, a bus, a peripheral blocks and coprocessor or accelerator and some other specific peripherals that constitute the processor-centric platform. So the example is ARM-based platform. This platform has been widely used in low-power portable handheld devices such as cellular phones, PDAs, etc. What is PDA? Personal Digital Assistant. Okay. The ARM-based platform supports platform layer 1, 2 and 3. Okay. So this processor-centric platform, it is widely used in low-power portable and handheld devices such as cellular phones and PDAs. So the example is ARM-based platform. So in the layer 1 of the platform has an open standard on-chip bus specification, that is ARM bus interface standard. So it has 3 protocols. First one, high-speed advanced extensible interface. It has an high-speed advanced extensible interface, then general advanced high-performance bus and register-based advanced peripheral bus. It also supports the memory architecture including local and global memory allocation, memory controller policies, caching policies, and memory space mapping. Okay, this processor-centric platforms, it's the AMBA specification. It also supports the memory architecture that is local and globally memory allocation. Memory controller just concentrating mainly on the memories. Okay. At platform layer 2, the SoC integration layer. So here it is the main focus on the hardware blocks directly interacting with operating system. So this ARM provide the AMBA design kit and AMBA compliances test bench. So the AMBA design kit contains the IP library. As we see earlier, the IP library. What are the components inside this IP library? Then contains the IP library, example integration and text components. These are the components inside this AMBA design kit. Also, this AMPA compliance test bench includes, that is, it is an interface protocol checker. Just connected protocols, that will be various rules. So just checking that for validating the compatible IP design. Layer 2 includes energy management. Also there will be some energy management as well as the hardware blocks directly interacting with OS. There will be another one. It includes the energy management. So a hardware protocol using FPGA or FPGA based multi-board prototyping tools can be implemented, and application software can be developed on this platform capable of multi-megahertz speed. So application software can be developed at this platform layer 2 stage. And the last one is the software development layer. Okay, software development layer enables quick development of the complex stack involved in the wireless communication and multimedia application. They're just developing of the complex stacks. Also, earlier the software was developed on the PC and later returned to the developed SoC. It also has many drawbacks. Okay. Next, application specific platform. The application centric platform is more close to the target application in terms of hardware architecture and software application. So this has a close target to the hardware architecture as well as the software application. For example, Philips Nexperia, that is Next Experience platform, is a digital video appliances such as DTV, DVD players, digital video recorders, and set-top boxes. Also all comes under the Philips Nexperia. The T1 OMAP, that is Open Mobile Application Processor, allows multimedia application in wireless handset. Okay, so this Philips Nexperia is a platform for the digital video appliances. So, and this OMAP, that is Open Mobile Application Processor, allows multimedia application in wireless handset. The figure below shows the hardware and the software platforms, the OMAP. This is the hardware platform. Just have a look on it. This is the software example. Okay, so just realize less importance. If you want, you can look onto the speakers. Okay. For the application specific platform, the three layers of the processor centric platforms are applied in the same way, but it has its own unique features such as heterogeneous multiprocessor architecture and OMAP standards. Okay, so this application specific platform is similar to this processor centric platform, but this has some unique features such as heterogeneous multiprocessor architecture and OMAP standards. Okay, and also it has two masters, that is ARM9 processor T1C55 DSV. So this ARM plays the role of general purpose controller such as dynamic task creation and destruction on the DSP. So this ARM creates a dynamic task creator and the destruction of the DSP, and the resource management of the memory and the processing power on the DSP. So if we want to transfer this message between the ARM and DSP, we are using a DSP bridge with two mailboxes. So this ARM and DSP have a separate memory architecture, device drives and operating system. So this OMAP standards provides software interface to operating system and hardware interface to the communication peripherals. For example, USB and synchronous serial interconnect are for the connection to the wireless modem. Next one, fully programmable platform. That is, the programmable chips from Xilinx and Altera have been frequently used for fast prototyping and hardware emulation, especially for systems. People such as communication engineers, programmable components are used to meet the communication standards. That is just fully programmable platform. That is, here we are using the FPGA based design. Okay, the programmable components are used to meet the communication standards as soon as possible. So their relatively large chip size can be tolerated in a large wireline system in which the reference distance designs are provided as a part of the operation of standard, although they are not optimized for SoC implementation. IP blocks, which are frequently required by the communication engineers, are integrated as hardware blocks inside the programmable logic array. This is just an example of this fully programmable platform. That is Vertex 2 from Xilinx. Okay, this figure shows the Vertex 2 architecture. This is in this there are various signals, that is configurable logic, that is programmable input output outputs. There are various RAM section, then block selected RAM, multiplier, CLB, clock signals, etc. So it integrates a 32-bit PowerPC RISC core and multi-gigabyte serial transceivers into a two-dimensional array of configurable logic blocks. It has multiples of 18K dual port RAM, block selected RAM, 18 cross 18-bit signed multipliers, and the multiple digital clock managers for the internal clock synthesis. Its internal bus adopts IBM Core Connect bus, which comprises three separate buses for the interconnecting processor blocks, IP blocks and custom logic. That is, here in this we are using three types of blocks, three types of buses for the connection. Okay, that is, first one, processor local bus for high bandwidth and low latency. Next one, the on-chip peripheral bus for slower peripheral cores, and the device control register bus to manage the status and control registers of the peripherals. The figure shows the block diagram of the above architecture. The integration of many IPs inside the programmable chip is contrary to its general purpose programmable characteristics. In addition, neither can give satisfactory solution to each area. New research activities such as dynamic reconfiguration and self-reconfiguration are underway, but no clear application has been found. Just have a look on it. The next one, last one, communication centric platform. So the SoC integration is similar to Lego Play, that is, the interface standards are important to simplify the development of complex systems and reduce the need to design glue logic that potentially degrades the performance of the system. So the interface standard, okay, the interface standard are very important to simplify the development of the complex system. So for simplifying a system, we just need the interface standards. Okay, the standard interface architecture provides rapid assembly of IP block into system on chip, as well as the guidelines for the design of the IP itself. So the standard interface architecture provide the rapid assembly of the IP blocks into the system on chip itself. Bus-based standard practices lead to IBM Core Connect, AMBA, and WOMAP-I. The Core Connect figure below comprises three bus type, as briefly mentioned in the previous section. The three types of bus that we learned in the last section is described in this one. Okay. It is very natural for the system on chip design to borrow board level design practices such as bus-based system design. So the bus has some critical disadvantages, that is, as the number of IPs connected to bus increases with integration sale, the bus performance degrades because of the increase in parasitic capacitance and resistance. So already we know, suppose if we add more components to the bus, means it will degrade the performance, okay, because of the increase in the increase in the parasitic capacitance and resistance. To overcome these drawbacks, a temporary solution is proposed by Sonix. They use separate optimization of the communication channel, such as IP dedicated to the communication, to optimize the target SoC rather than fixed interface standards. This figure shows the Sonix integration architecture. Okay. A communication subsystem that can be turned to the required bandwidth. They provide flexible interface sockets, decoupled agents, offering data flow servers, and internal communication fabric. That is, this SONIAC integration provides the flexible interface socket, decoupled agents offering data flow servers, and internal communication fabrics. So these all comes under the comes under this platform. Okay, platform based SoC design. Based SoC design. Next we are going to see about multiprocessor on SoC and network on chip. So multiprocessor on SoC and network on chip. The concept of multiprocessor system on chip, it's a topic. Okay, the SoC platform has recently evolved into multiprocessor SoC, that is MPSoC, multiprocessor system on chip. The SoC, or the embedded system, follows the architecture of a desktop computer because most system engineers are familiar with the PC and its software solution. The current PC contains multiple processor, multiple core CPU, DSP, and other application-specific processor to support high computing power with less power consumption for advanced applications such as multimedia or 3D games. Okay, so the current PC contains various applications, that is, there will be some multiple processor, multi-core CPU, DSP, and other application specific processor to support high power with less power consumption. Although there will be all these components, there will be some What about the power? There will be with less power consumption for the advanced applications such as multimedia. If we use all these also, there will be the power consumption is very low. So just we are going for this multiprocessor system on chip design. Okay. Multiprocessor or multi has been studied in computing discipline as part of parallel computing. The purpose of developing this multiprocessor system is to improve the throughput, scalability, and reliability of the computing system. They have established a well-developed theory and set of practices on the parallel computer. So just for the improving throughput, scalability and reliability, we are using this multiprocessor system. They have established a well-developed theory and set of practices on this parallel computer. So it can be split into two categories according to the location of the hardware and software resources. That is centralized computing and distributed computing. Okay, so these are the two types of computing used. That is the centralized computing, which has been studied to construct the supercomputer, is more appropriate for microprocessor based system on chip, multiprocessor system on chip design. Okay, so just centralized computing, which is studied to construct the supercomputer. However, there is a clear difference between the multi-core or multiprocessor and MPSoC. Multi-core, multiprocessor and MPSoC. This MPSoC provides a system solution like Emotion Engine, giving full video and graphic solution, whereas multi-core or multiprocessor is just a processing block. Okay, ideally the system with n processor shows n times faster performance than a single processor, but in reality, okay, it speeds up ranges from a lower bound log 2n to upper bound n by log n due to the conflicts over memory access, IO limitation, and inter-processor communication. So if a system consists of processor, then it shows the faster performance of the system than a single processor. So if we are using multiprocessor, means the system processor will increase. The speed up ranges is given. Okay, so the most famous classification method is FLANS. So it is classified into 4: SISD, single instruction single data; SIMT, single instruction multiple data; MISD, multiple instruction single data; and MIMT, that is multiple instruction multiple data. The other classification method are distinguished by having a shared communication memory and unshared distributed memory. Okay. Among the four different architectures, MIMD architecture is most appropriate for multiprocessor system on chip design. So for this method we are using multiple instruction multiple data method. The multiple instruction multiple data architecture can be regarded as an extension of uniprocessor single memory plus single processor architecture. That is, it is a uniprocessor single memory plus single processor architecture. That is, it's just an extended method of this uniprocessor single memory and single processor architecture. There are two alternatives for assembling this multiple processors and memory module. One simple way is to make the processor and memory as pairs and then connect via an interconnection network. So we are just using it as a pairs and then connect through an interconnection network. This figure shows the processor plus memory pairs or a PE works rather independently on each other, and the memory inside one PE is hardly assembled directly by the other. This class of MIMD may be called as distributed memory. Okay, this figure shows the distributed memory, that is each POs P1 PN consists of memories. Okay, memories as well as the processor. In single PO there will be a memory as well as the processor. Okay, that is the distributed memory MIMD or message passing MIMD architecture. The other one is shared memory architecture, that is shown in this figure. That is the memories are grouped up and all the processors are grouped up and it can be interconnected. That is, the processor and memory into separate modules, and every processor can access any memory through the interconnection network. The set of memories make up a global address space which is shared by the processor. This type of MIMD is called shared memory MIMD. Next, multiprocessor system on chip and network on chip. Here we will look at the interconnection structure among the memory and processor can be determined the multiprocessor architecture. So the three different interconnection method has been proposed. That is, just for connecting this memory as well as the processor, there will be three method. That is, first one, shared bus. Okay, this is shown in the above figure. It is very simple to use. That is, the bus is shared among the memory as well as the processor. In addition, it is compatible with legacy buses. However, at any time only one processor can access a particular one memory, otherwise bus contention occurs. So at a time we can use only one memory and one processor. That is, one processor can access only one memory at a single time. To handle this, a bus controller with an arbitrary switch limits bus access to one processor at a time. Because it is not scalable and the system efficiency is low. This system is not regarded as network on chip. Next, second one, crossbar switch network. So crossbar switch is an ultimate interconnecting architecture for the high performance. In the figure above, M vertical processor are connected to M horizontal links. There will be M horizontal links and M vertical blocks. In horizontal memories are connected to the M vertical links. These are the processors are connected in rows and these memories are connected in rows. Okay, at each cross section a switch connects the junction with the control switch. Also, in the connecting point of this there will be a switch present. Okay, so in this network every processor can access a free memory independent of other processor. Also, several processors can have access to the memory at the same time. So at a single time, if we want to use the same memory, all the processor can use the same memory at a single time. That is displayed in this crossbar switch network. So if we want to access more processor to a single memory at a time, so the scheduler in the crossbar should determine which one need to connect. So the main drawback of this crossbar switch is the number of switches. In the case of M by N, various multi-stage networks can be used to reduce the drawback, but it results in the switch latency and delay incurred by the transition passing through the multiple switch stage. Next, last one, shared multi or multi-port memories. That is, here this memory multi-port, that is here the same node, it is shared among all processor. Also similarly, all the memories are shared among the multiple ports. That is, the multi-port memory can be used as an interconnection network at the figure shown above. All the processors have a direct access path to every memory. So there will be a direct connection from this memory to this processor, and the controller inside the memory determines which processor to connect. So to which processor we need to connect is decided by the memory itself. That is the processor inside the controller inside the memory. Okay, the complexity previously in the crossbar is now shifted inside the memory. So the realization of the memory with such complex logic and multiport is very expensive and very practical. So these are the 4 types of buses used in this. So these all comes under the topic multiprocessor or multiprocessor SoC and network on chip design. Hope you all understand. If you have any doubts, you can comment. Okay, thank you.